Hi there, Dream Achievers. I had a revelation last night. And so I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta share this. I gotta share this. And hopefully it will help someone or it will clarify some things for people here. Now, in 1990, I was about 8 years old. And that's when I got introduced to tennis and I fell in love. I mean, I ended up playing tennis from that point on until college, where I was part of teams. And I was the captain. I was in the first, I played doubles for the most part. In high school, I did play single as well. But it was one of my, oh my gosh, my favorite. And to this day, I drive around with with some rackets and balls in the trunk just in case, I'm ready whenever you are. So that's why I drive around with them. But there was a time there that I had taken a break. And when I say a break, oh my gosh, after college, I think maybe 6, 7 years where I did not play tennis at all. So what ended up happening is when I got back in, I had gotten introduced to this tennis club. I joined it and I started going. And I remember the first or second time I went back, I met this lady and we're just kind of talking and we were being paired up that day. We were playing together. She was about 72 years old and I was very impressed with how fit she was. So we just started kind of talking about that. And I told her, I had taken a break and all this stuff. Then we played. And after playing, she came to me. She's like, man, you play really well. I could have never known that you have been off the court for 7 years or whatever. And I was, I was like, oh, thank you. And then as we started talking and I told her, hey, I'm from Zimbabwe. And she says, oh my gosh, so do you know Kirstie Coventry? And I said, of course I know Kirstie. She is like the treasure, right? And for those who maybe do not know her, she is like actually the most decorated Olympian in Africa. I know in 2000 at the Olympics, she went to the semifinals. And in 2004 in Athens, she won 3 medals. She had a gold, silver, bronze. Excuse me, in 2008 in Beijing, she won 4. She had probably a gold and 3 silvers or something. You can Google that, but something like that. So so she's amazing, right? But she's also from Zimbabwe. So she was telling me this and she's like, I, that's who I know from Zimbabwe. I guess I now know 2 people, you and her, we started talking about that and it was kind of funny. But then this is what she said to me. She says, when I look at you, I think, man, you could have been a Kirstie Coventry or you could have been a Serena Williams or whatever. And I said, oh, sure. And she said, no, in all seriousness, because if you think about it, and she was coming from a place of, she had been a coach herself, right? So she was an educator as a profession and she coached mostly tennis and her kids went to swimming and all this other stuff. So she was kind of in that space. So she was coming from that space of, there's so many people that have potential, so many people that could be, right, or could have been, but they don't have the resources. And mostly, the coaches, especially when we're talking in this space, they don't have a coach because if they do have that person who's dedicated to them and where they're going, they're able to break out and really leave their full potential, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really impressive. And that's true. And, she just kind of talked more about coaching. And then and here's the thing, and this is where the revelation comes in. So then she talked about, personal coaches because she was retired as an educator and she had now gotten into business, right? Where she actually was coaching and teaching other things as a business. She was running this business. And she said, yeah, I actually have a business coach. And because of that, I've been able to get my business to a different space. I also work with that, with a mentor, all this other stuff. She said this stuff, right? And I heard her, but I didn't get it, right? I got part of it, especially when she was talking about coaching you on a sports level. But when she started talking about the business coaching and the personal development or whatever, it kind of went over my head. And then maybe 3 years later, right? Maybe 3, 4 years later from that day, that's when I was introduced to personal. That's when I got into the whole personal development thing, and I got, all into that. But it didn't even click then, right? So yesterday I was having a conversation with my husband, and I was just telling him, oh, I miss tennis, whatever. And we started talking about random things. Then I thought of Miss Helen and what she had said, right? And this is, when did she say this? Gosh, was this in 2010, maybe 2011? I don't remember. But anyway, and then I had a moment where I thought, oh my gosh, she talked about coaching and personal development and how, and I didn't get it, right? And this comes up because as I speak with different people, and some people they get hung up with the word coaching, maybe, where they're like, well, I don't know about coaching. And I get that. But I'm saying, and I'm putting all this, and I hope it's making sense because I'm like in that space where I'm like, oh, revelation. So I hope it makes sense. But I'm saying all this to say, who is your coach, right? And I want you to kind of take a step back, and you don't have to use the word coach, but who is that person that is holding you accountable, that is helping you implement, that is guiding you, that is a few steps ahead of you, right? That person who is not trying to fix you or anything, that person who is just holding your hand and pulling you through because they're steps ahead and you have a place that you want to go and you want to take the fast lane. You do not want to be in the slow lane, right? You want to go in the Kirstie Coventry, right? And of course she has talent, but you can imagine how many people have talent or even more, but do not have that person that can help them get there. For me, when I heard that Oprah Winfrey has about 4 coaches at any given time, that was it. Because I was saying, look, if she has coaches, I probably need 100 of those, right? I hear she's a health coach, a spiritual coach, a business coach, a personal development coach, I guess, and they might have different names, but in that capacity, all these great people, the Michael, the Magic Johnsons, right. So that had me personally thinking that if these people have, what am I doing not having? So I really want you to think of where you're trying to go and how you can best get there, right? And maybe start thinking about investing in a coach. I have 2 coaches, and one is not even in the same continent as me, okay? I have my business coach is in Australia. I know. But yeah, I have a business coach and I have like a personal development coach, right? And man, I remember one time I got off the phone, my session, and I called a very close friend of mine and I said, girl, how have I been living this life without a coach? Like, how has that been working? Right? Because it's all these revelations, all these things that may not necessarily be new, but they just kind of bring them to light and help you connect the dots. So I really want to encourage you to think about that, right? And I'm not saying you have to have a coach. I'm just saying, think about what that could do for you. Right. And if you're in that space where you're like, man, I need to get where I'm going right now. And it doesn't have to be, just do your research. Almost every coach will have like a session where you can speak to them, right? And you can see, is this the person that I could work with? Is this not? Right. And I will say for like the business people, which is most of my clients, I do have personal development as well, but most of my clients are in the business space. They're trying to get their business going or expand or scale it. I would say get someone, talk to them, see if you gel and try it out and see what happens, right? And it doesn't have to be me. Of course, if it is, I'll be so happy about that. I do have a link where you can schedule a 45-minute call and we can talk about that. And I could even help you. If I know specifically what you're looking for, I could give you directions and say, hey, talk to this person. I could introduce you to my coaches or whatever, depending on what your needs are. But I just wanted to encourage you there and just say, can you imagine? I could have been Serena. Okay, that's missing the point. Anyway, thank you so much. So I hope this speaks to you and gets you into action and just kind of exploring that space because really, we don't know what we don't know. right? Until we know. So let's try to know. All right. Thank you so much. I will talk to you soon.